Hello everyone, and welcome back to Destin Learning. One of the most important aspects in any system is managing users and their permissions. In this video, we are going to look at AWS Identity and Access Management and how to manage users and permissions. Let's go ahead and look at the details. AWS IAM is a service for managing access to AWS resources. It allows you to create users, assign permissions, and control access to your AWS environment. Following best practices ensures security and control. AWS IAM is a web service for controlling access to AWS resources. It allows you to create and manage users, groups, and roles, and define permissions. Key components include users, groups, roles, and policies. IAM provides granular access control by allowing detailed permissions for users, groups, or roles. This ensures complete control over who can access AWS resources and what actions they can perform. IAM supports MFA, adding an extra layer of security by requiring users to provide a second form of authentication, such as a mobile device, in addition to their username and password. IAM allows the creation of temporary security credentials through roles. These credentials can be assumed by users or AWS services to gain specific access for a limited time. IAM roles facilitate secure cross-account access in AWS, allowing resource sharing without granting full account control. IAM centralizes user and permission management, ensuring consistent access control across multiple AWS services. This improves security and helps meet compliance requirements. AWS IAM uses a policy-based access control model. Policies are JSON documents defining permissions by specifying actions allowed or denied on resources. These policies are attached to users, groups, or roles to enforce access controls. In IAM, you can create individual user accounts for people or applications needing AWS access. Users can be organized into groups based on roles, such as administrators, developers, or testers, and policies can be applied to these groups. Policies in AWS define what actions users, groups, or roles can perform on specific resources. AWS provides managed policies for common use cases, like full access to EC2 or read-only access to S3. Custom policies can also be created for more granular control. Assigning roles allows temporary access to users or services. This is useful for EC2 applications or accessing resources in another AWS account. Enable MFA for users to enhance security by requiring an additional authentication factor, such as a one-time code from a mobile app, when accessing the AWS Management Console or API. AWS IAM integrates with AWS CloudTrail to record actions taken by users, roles, or AWS services. This helps with auditing and compliance, allowing you to track who did what in your AWS environment. To create a new IAM user, log into the AWS Management Console and navigate to IAM. Click on Users and select Add User. Specify a username and choose the type of access required. Click Next to set permissions. You can assign permissions by adding users to groups, attaching policies directly, or creating custom policies. AWS provides managed policies for common use cases, such as Amazon's read-only access for viewing S3 objects. Roles in IAM allow you to delegate access to AWS services without sharing long-term credentials. For example, an EC2 instance can access an S3 bucket. To create a role, go to the IAM console, select Roles, click Create Role, choose the entity, and attach policies defining permissions. To enhance security for sensitive operations, enable Multi-Factor Authentication, MFA. Navigate to Users in the IAM console, select the user, and choose Security Credentials. Under MFA, click Assign MFA Device and follow the steps to configure it with a virtual or hardware device. Always follow the principle of least privilege by granting only the minimum permissions needed for users, groups, or roles. This enhances security by reducing risks and preventing unauthorized actions. Regularly review and adjust permissions to maintain control and ensure compliance with security policies. Assign policies to groups instead of individual users to simplify permissions management and ensure consistency across similar roles. Enforce multi-factor authentication for all users, especially those with access to sensitive resources or administrative privileges. Regularly rotate access keys for programmatic access, and avoid hard-coding credentials in applications. Use AWS CloudTrail to monitor and audit user activity. Regularly review access logs to identify any unauthorized or suspicious actions. When granting permissions to applications on AWS, use IAM roles instead of creating users. This ensures applications have access only for the duration needed and don't require long-term credentials. In summary, AWS IAM helps manage access to AWS resources securely, implement granular access control, enforce MFA, and review user activity regularly to maintain a secure environment. IAM is scalable for both small teams and large organizations, ensuring well-organized infrastructure. Well, that's all for this video. I hope it's giving you a good idea of how to manage users and permissions using IAM. If you'd like this video, please click the thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to our channel. Thanks again, and I hope to see you in another video soon.